Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessings be multiplied on all you brethren out there teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the few Akwaf as well. It's the brother Damar Gabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify and give you warning from Yahweh by Yahweh Shai. And as I was, going through articles this morning, I came across this one, which, sparked me through the spirit to do a lesson on it, because it's further showing you just how bad and dire the food situation and the cost of living is wreaking havoc on, these American citizens out here. And as the prices of food goes up, as the value of the dollar continues to go down, people are finding it harder and harder to survive out here, to where now you got a lot of people, homeless people who are on the lower income spectrum, and also nurses, teachers, people with careers. You have a lot of people out here with combined incomes making well over, $200,000, $300,000 that are living paycheck to paycheck, because, the price of everything is going higher. People's rent is going up. Food prices are at an all-time high. And people are having, to make tough decisions of whether to buy food or pay their bills. And a lot of people are opting to buy food, because they rather survive than to maybe pay that light bill or to pay that car note. They're trying to get, help or, grace periods to extend, bills that they couldn't afford to pay because they had to feed their children and, feed themselves, or, put gas in the car to go to work, or whatever the situation might be. You just see that a lot of people here in America, even middle class, even so-called well-to-do people, are just struggling here majorly in Babylon the Great, man. And it's ultimately, signs of the Lord further destroying this place and, bringing America down. And you're going to see more and more of this as things get progressively worse. And the more that they raise interest rates, the more that things get more expensive. People are going to be, faced with some serious situations to make. And eventually it's going to lead to a lot of homelessness, because I read another article where out here in California, I forget where it was, it's like a homeless encampment, like miles long, man, of people just living out of their cars, living on the streets, living in RVs, just camped out, just living along this, it's like water, like a river or a lake or something. They just live there, and it's, homeless people as far as the eyes can see, especially here in California, San Francisco. Those cities are totally just wastelands, man. All right. And it's just further showing you, the deterioration of this society, in which, a lot of us brethren, we're going to have to prepare ourselves eventually one day, Lord willing. It doesn't happen, but some of us are going to have to be homeless, or, when things get really bad and, they force the MOTB and we don't go along with this system and bow down into the system. Hey, we're going to find ourselves maybe homeless or living out on the streets or getting kicked out of our apartments and our houses. And, we're going to have to be like those pilgrims here on the earth, eventually. But it's just showing you just how bad things are getting out here, man. So I'm going to read some of this article. Got a couple precepts, Lord willing, you can be edified. But, this is going to start becoming the new norm here in Babylon the Great pretty soon. And a lot of the comforts and a lot of the ease that a lot of you women had here in America, it's about to take a turn for the worse. And all of that pride and all of that feminism, all that got your nose in the air, pretty soon is going to go out the window, man, when you're going to be desperately needing a man for protection and help from, the elements out here when all hell breaks loose. So it says, the line outside Boston American's Red Cross food pantry on a recent Saturday morning stretched down the length of 2 football fields. The number of people filing into the red brick industrial zone warehouse on some days now exceeds the worst periods of the pandemic economic crisis, and in April it had the second highest monthly traffic since it opened in 1982, according to David Andre, the director. His organization, like food banks across the country, have been flooded with requests for help since food stamps recipients were hit with a double blow. The expiration of a temporary boost and benefits put in place during the pandemic and onerous grocery prices, which are running 24% above pre COVID levels, you see? So really, it's kind of like the government set people up, that was giving you extra money during the whole pandy, so people was able to buy more, people was able to be a little bit more comfortable, and they were under the impression that hey, those days were never going to end because, like the scriptures say, when you're prospering, you don't remember the bad times, but when the bad times come, all that remembrance of prosperity goes out the window, man. And now we see a lot of these people are coming to the realization that, things are getting worse. And as we know, the price of food is going to continue to get higher. The value of the dollar is going to continue to get weaker, and the prices of everything is going to continue to soar. So people are going to find themselves in even worse and worse situations. They're going to find themselves in the spirit of desperation pretty soon, which is how a lot of these people will be deceived into taking the MOTB eventually in the future and basically being so desperate that they'll pretty much give away all of their rights and do whatever the government will tell them to do in order to receive some comfort or some food or some protection or some type of normalcy. It says it's a hunger cliff. Inflation and ending these emergency allotments, Andrew said, people are really crashing, you see? And you have to, you know that the government did it intentionally. And they can't say that they don't have money because look at all the money they're shipping over there to Ukraine, billions and trillions of dollars that they sent over there to fight a proxy war. And all of that money could have been used to, keep these benefits going, to, help these American citizens to sustain themselves. But obviously they don't give, half a ass about these people out here. They want to see you suffer. They want to bring that order out of the chaos, man. They want to have you in a position to where you're so desperate that you'll do anything to survive. It says about 32 million Americans had their monthly food stamp benefit cut at the end of February, on average about $90 per person, though some households experienced much deeper reductions. You see, people got cut, they got hit, and we was warning you, Jakes, that that whole plan, when the pandemic came, people was getting all that extra money. It was on unemployment, was getting extra $500. They was living good. They was comfortable. Jake was happy being at home, just sitting on their ass, receiving all of that money and extra food stamps and rental assistance. They was living high on the hog, man, with hopes that they thought it was never going to end, man. But then after all that's said and done, now the reality is coming in. Hey, all that extra money they was giving you, all that extra benefits, now they're cutting everything. You see? And that's because, a lot of you, Jake, had your hopes and your faith in this system, man. And then when it finally ended and they finally, cut it off, a lot of you was down hella bad, in debt. You wasn't paying your rent. You wasn't using that so-called stimulus money to take care of your responsibilities. You were just further splurging, going to the dispensary, buying all type of weed and weaves and clothes. You niggas was doing them PPP scams, all type of foolishness, man. But now, as things are getting progressively worse and these banks are crashing and this dollar is about to go to zero, a lot of you are about to be, through. It says the end of the emergency allotment for food stamps largely completes the unwinding of a series of CV relief measures that staved off a wave of destitution during the crisis and even brought child poverty rates down to a 20-year low. Many more Americans are now going hungry than at the peak of the pandemic aid. Some 24.6 million adults didn't have enough to eat in early April versus 16.7 million the same month 2 years ago, the Census Bureau estimates, you see? And it's only going to get worse. Those numbers are going to rise. Those numbers are going to climb, man. And we know that now they're doing massive layoffs. A lot of these companies are going out of business. A lot of these companies are, shipping their business overseas, and they're laying off a lot of you American people out here, which is going to bring more and more bad times, more and more evictions, more and more debt, and you unable to pay your mortgages and your car notes, and living these highly expensive lives that you were accustomed to living. You see, and people are going to be hurt, and people are going to be mad, and people are going to be desperate, and we know a lot of people are going to have to resort to doing things that they never thought that they would ever have to do. It says, and Republicans are seeking new restrictions on food aid and cuts to safety net programs as prices for raising the debt ceiling. At the same time, food prices have soared more than any other major category of consumer costs except energy since the start of the pandemic, disproportionately burdening poor Americans who devote a large share of their resources to such essential expenses. Since February 2020, the last month before the pandemic lockdown, grocery prices have surged half again, as much as a 16% increase in overall consumer price. In the first quarter alone, global food maker Nestle SA reported raising prices in North America 12.4 compared to last year. Unilever PLC raised prices 13.4. See? It says Melissa Lopes, a disabled 40-year-old person in Boston with a kidney transplant and two children at home, has started to going to the Red Cross food pantry once, sometimes twice a week since her benefits were cut. Yet she's rationing chicken and whatsoever other meat she gets against adolescents' appetite. They're like, Mama, I want 2 pieces. I want 3, Lopez said. They're boys. They're big. They want more. They used to get seconds, you see? And that's what's happening, People are able to buy food, but you have to buy less and less of what you used to get. And especially when the all those benefits was kicking in and the pandemic relief was popping, they was going to the grocery store, buying more than enough. They were able to have seconds and thirds, to satisfy their hunger, to eat, just to eat pretty much, man. But now, as you can see, she's having to ration food so that her kids can eat, man. And this is happening all over the country, man. And it's all really part of the prophecy and the judgments of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. You see? Where is it? This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 16. It says, Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem. Now, and in this case, it's not that the bread is not there. We know that a famine is coming, but sometimes famine can be just not having the money to gain access to the food that is available, which in turn, is a famine within itself, or a rationing or, food scarcity. You see? And the Lord is breaking the staff of bread in Jerusalem, because Jerusalem's a people before it's a place. It says, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment, and that they may want bread and water, and be astonished one with another, and consume away for their iniquity. See? Because like I said, a lot of Jake was trusting in this system. They was riding high when they was getting all these extra benefits. They wasn't thinking about Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They wasn't thinking about repenting and returning to the Lord. Because why? They were being fed. They were being provided for by Esau, more than what they were usually getting. But now that times is getting bad, what does it say? Yet she's rationing chicken and whatsoever other meats she gets against adolescents' appetites, man. You see? So now they're eating their bread and their food by measure, man. A lot of people are not doing so good, And like I said, it's going to get worse and worse, especially when this dollar collapses. Especially when, people realize that, all of these different crops and meat plants that's been going up in smokes, all this, avian flu and bird flu where they've been slaughtering millions upon millions of chickens. Eventually, people are going to start to see the result of that and less of chicken on the shelf and ridiculous high prices. It says, concerns are rising of a recession on the horizon, adding to the peril for households on edge. Morgan Stanley economists said the expiration of the pandemic food stamp benefit is already weighing on economic growth and project on annualized 50 billion hit to the disposable income. It says the SNAP program, as food stamps are formerly known, provides low-income families and individuals with benefits loaded onto a card that can be used to buy food and non-alcoholic beverages, but not other items. The benefit accounts for about 12% of U.S. food and beverage sales, making it an important source of revenue for supermarkets such as Kroger and supercenters such as Walmart. A Moody's analysis forecasts supermarkets will more than make up for the loss of sales through price increases and consumers diverting spending from other retailers. See? So it's just going to cause more and more strain and more hardships on the people. And that's why eventually you're going to see people just start running up and looting and going absolutely fucking crazy in these stores, man, because of the lack of bread, because they're not going to have the finances or the money to go to purchase this expensive fast food, which is all part of these elites plan anyway. But where's the point? I wanted to reason another point. Here we go. It says, even with help from a local food pantry, Nicole Serviniak, a 45-year-old discount store manager and single mother in Pueblo, Colorado, says she has to curtail snacks she used to provide her children for after-school sports practices and skimp on dinner. You have to cut the proportions of food down, said Serviniak, whose food stamp benefits dropped $500 a month. Having three teenage kids, that's not good. They're still hungry. You see what it say? They have to cut proportions of food down. They're eating their food by measure, and they're eating it very carefully and being very, mindful of how they're, eating. They can't just gorge out and just eat seconds and thirds and make sure that everybody is full. Everybody has to get, just enough so that they can, eat, man. And it's not like they don't want to feed their children more, but hey, times were just that hard, man. The Lord is doing his thing out here. It says Nathan Springer, a retired Army colonel who was president and chief executive officer of Colorado Springs Base Care and Share Food Bank, said his organization is seeing more requests for groceries from military families, teachers, nurses, and even dual income couples following the cut in assistance. We've seen young full-time employees who are for the first time facing hard decisions. Are we going to buy food or pay our utility bill? Springer said. You see? So it's not only just the poor people, lower income people that are getting hit. It's even these middle class people who are nurses and in the military, teachers, dual income couples, man, because the prices of everything is getting so high. It's like, you can be making over $100,000 a year and still be struggling in this society, man. Toppled with I'm pretty sure they got debt, they got car notes, they got mortgages, you got bills to pay, utilities, cell phones, all these different things. And it's hard to make the ends meet, man. You see, the scriptures say that. This is Haggai 1:6. It says, now therefore, verse 5, now therefore, saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Yeah, like I said, some of these dual income households, they're making over $100,000, $200,000 a year combined, man. But they're bringing in a lot of money. But as the dollar gets more, worthless and less, it purchases less. It's not able to to get all the bills paid like it used to. And then you got rising prices of food. I'm pretty sure people's, mortgage and rent is going higher, so shit is hard out here, man. It says ye have sown much and bring in little, ye eat, but ye have not enough. Yeah, you see, like the lady saying that her kids are still hungry. She has to ration the food and be more mindful of portion sizes. It says, ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes, you see? And that's what a lot of these people are experiencing, man. You're working full time. They're nurses. They're making decent money, but it's like it's still not enough, man. You have to make hard decisions on whether you're going to pay your bills and your utilities or feed your family, man. And this is a Haggai 1:6 in the NLT. It says, ye have planted much, but harvest little. You eat, but are not satisfied. You drink, but are still thirsty. You put on clothes, but cannot keep warm. Your wages disappear as though you were putting them in pockets filled with holes. You see? And that's what it's like, People are working, people are making money, man, but it's just not cutting the mustard, What else is in here? There we go. It says the extra pandemic allotment also was a blunt tool designed for a temporary crisis that risked distorting work incentives if continued indefinitely, Gunderson said. Unlike normal SNAP benefits, they were structured in such a way that in some cases recipients who earned extra money could lose more in benefits, you see? So it was all planned, man. They gave you more so that they can turn around and take the average that you were getting before they gave you, that extra of it, man. It says overall the SNAP benefit per person climbed from 121 a month just before the pandemic to 256 in January, shortly before the emergency allotment ended. Yet decades high rates of food, energy, and rent inflation placed an extraordinarily burden on many SNAP beneficiaries, Gunderson said. In most cases, food stamps only cover a portion of grocery costs, and families already on the financial edge may have depended on the extra food aid for years. Weren't for a big adjustment period these next months, said Springer, Colorado Food Bank director, for the families that has his food pantries help feed. A few $100s less a month is a lot. Look at this. Heather Thomas, a 48-year-old disabled mother in Fort Centreville, Virginia, married to an unemployed Air Force veteran, says she suddenly lost almost $600 a month in benefits, unsettling her family. Her 13-year-old son grew moody, less attentive at school, and started getting headaches. It's because he was not eating like he was before, she said, because he was trying not to eat as much to stretch the benefits for his siblings, you see? So, hey, scriptures are on point, man, And like I said, you're going to see more and more of this as things get progressively worse, man, as the prices get higher, as, more and more, calamities befall these different, meat packaging plants, train derailments. And the further we go into this NWO, man, people are going to, eventually have to resort to cannibalism. It's sad. It don't sound logical, but it's true. You see? Get this last precept and I'm going to close. It says, this is 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And this is America, because this place has always been a beacon of overindulgence. And, you always been able to just, food just always been just readily available. This is one of the only few places on the earth where, American citizens can eat meat every single day of the week, man. You go to certain places in the islands and in Africa and these countries around the world, people don't eat meat every day like the average American does. That's why everybody's so goddamn fat and out of shape here, man. Hey, but the Lord's going to bring the ultimate form of famine here in Babylon the Great pretty soon, whether it's through physical famine because there's no food or because people won't have the means and the money and the ability to have access to these foods, man. All right. It says 23, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run, you see. So it's going to be a huge, this place is going to dry up pretty harshly, man. And everybody who's just used to stuffing their face and eating whenever they, have a thought to do so here in Babylon the Great, pretty soon it's not going to be like that. And people are going to be desperate. They're going to be moody. They're going to be angry. They're going to be hungry. And they're going to, like I said, do things they never thought that they would do. Going to have women out here selling their body for a can of beans or for a bottle of water. And like I said, and the worst of all, people are going to resort to cannibalism, man. All right. So you have to prepare your mind, to see these type of things, man. This is why, our trust and faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to be the main driving force and the thing that's going to get us through all of this, man. Lord said his servants are going to eat and his servants are going to drink. But everybody else outside of that, man, are going to, howl for vexation of spirit, man, and be out here just destitute and going through it, man. But Lord willing, we're of that household of faith or of the elect where we'll be, delivered and saved and fed in the midst of all of this chaos, man. So, hey, with that, Lord willing, you were edified. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, put in the spirit of me to do this lesson. To the next one, Shalom.